Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. freedomsphoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, and we have my special guest, Larken Rose, on. And, I want to go back. We got the time, so I want to go back to the beginning. Let's go ahead and talk, Larken. You got involved in, you have a wife and children, correct?
Only one child, but sometimes she seems like more than that.
Yeah. So we have a family, and you took on the battle with the IRS on more of a philosophical basis. Just to take this segment to talk about that. And you really were very public about it. You were very instructive about it. You were educating people about it. You were pressing what issue. It's more than just the issue. It was their response to it and how, legal the legal system is. Go ahead and walk us through that real quick.
Right. The underlying legal reason that we stopped filing was a technical legal reason based on what the tax laws actually say, which is basically international trade is subject to the tax and purely domestic trade isn't. But what I did from the beginning, first of all, I wanted to be the guinea pig. I wanted them to come after me, and at the same time I was telling everybody else, hey, everybody, don't do this, because I wasn't trying to stay out of trouble. I ran full-page ads saying, dear federal government, please prosecute me. And then explaining that I wasn't filing and saying why. The reason for doing that, the reason for making it public, was to basically say, look, whether I win or lose, I want you to watch what your government does to me and see if it doesn't make you kind of reconsider what you thought about it as the public protector and the agent of justice and the defender of freedom and yada, yada, yada. And even though I lost, the feds did a marvelous job of showing what a bunch of lying, thieving thugs they are by cheating every way they possibly could to imprison someone that the prosecution and the judge knew hadn't even violated the law. Now, again, there are people who are actual tax protesters who say, this is immoral, I'm not going to pay it. And, more power to them. I completely philosophically agree with that. That just isn't what I was doing. I was saying, look, your own rules say this, and had meetings with the IRS, and they said, we're not really sure why it says that. We'll get back to you. And they got back to us, quote unquote, a couple years later by having a dozen armed IRS thugs invade our home.
Well, I remember them talking about this during that time, and it went like this. You want our answer to these questions? Our answer is going to be enforcement. I remember them saying that. It
was Terry Lemons, IRS spokesperson, who actually said, our answer can be seen in our enforcement actions. Nice mentality.
No. It was very instructive. And, you first.
I wonder, how far are they going to expand that? If somebody walks into their office and says, am I allowed to deduct this expense, or are they just going to hit him over the head with a bat? There's your answer. Bam!
Well, how are you dealing with the IRS now? You back to filing? What are you doing?
Well, I have a secret trick, which is being so dang poor that I don't owe them anything, which is not a trick I'd like to continue.
Oh, that's been my trick for a long time.
At the moment, we've been filing, and we've been so poor that they get nothing anyway. If we get out of that, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Yeah, well, just
we'll just leave it at that.
Decide when that choice comes up. And that's the thing is, when it comes to resisting the thuggery, if one person recognizes tyranny as tyranny, he's in big trouble. Like, either he's going to put up with it and be oppressed, or he's going to resist and be dead. Neither of them is a particularly good option. But that's why my focus, even during the tax thing, was to have people learn what's actually going on. And in that case, it was mostly legal issues. Just, watch what happens. We hear all the propaganda about our system of justice, and you get your day in court, and we have due process, and yada, yada, yada. All the BS that completely falls by the wayside the moment that the power system of the control freaks is actually in trouble. Because if I had won, and the IRS knew this, the Department of Justice knew this, and the judge knew this, if I had won being that in their face in public and saying, I'm not filing, and here's why, it had to make national news, and they'd spin it as, here's this horrible, nasty tax cheat and all that. But they couldn't risk people hearing about, you mean somebody didn't file and told them and nothing happened?
Well, what is it that you were hoping to accomplish? What did you accomplish? And I really do want to get into the support of your wife, and because she had to go to jail too.
Yep.
So what's been her, and what kind of impacted that? So many questions. Let's go ahead and start off one at a time. Your wife's support of what you were doing manifested in what way? She just total support, or okay, whatever, you're the man? I mean, what?
It was, that's an area that I couldn't possibly have been any luckier in. Of course, she wasn't thrilled about going to prison, wasn't thrilled about risking that and going up against them and that, but she understands the philosophy of freedom just as much as I do, and she advocates it just as much as I do. The only question for either one of us is, at what point is it worth it to stand in front of the tyrant to hopefully make a difference? At what point are you just getting yourself killed, and at what point are you actually doing some good? But she was completely supportive the whole way. There's a difference between being unsupportive and being scared. We were both scared at times and less scared at other times. But, I can't even imagine having known this and fought this and having been married to somebody who said, oh, we should pay our fair share and give back to society. If it was somebody philosophically who didn't get the point, it wouldn't have happened.
How old is your child?
She's now 13. When we got raided, she was 9, I believe. 6. Sorry.
This has to have some kind of impact on her perspective of government. Does she feel she's in a occupied regime, or is she kind of oh man, when I move out, I'm going to become the best collectivist ever? I mean, what's her thought on?
I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, I've been sort of wondering what it's going to look like to have a kid who's rebellious against anarchist parents. What's to rebel against? But I think the fact that she had heard us talk about the IRS before, she was only 6, so how much understanding would she have? But that we talk about, there's this huge gang of thieves, and it steals money from everybody, and they're not going to like it when we do this. And so that when they did the raid, of course, it was a very scary event, and people who haven't had their home invaded by armed thugs, there's no words I can say to make people know all the way what that's really like.
That's one thing, Larken, when we come back, we'll go ahead and talk about the legal issue just a little bit. I mean, it's just, you challenge them with their own laws. You say it doesn't say that. Yeah? Well, we got a gun. So this is, we'll get into that a little bit, but, things have progressed since then. A cultural awareness that happened, a lot of it due to Larken Rose and his wife's efforts. We'll be right back.
This is Ernest Hancock. I'm publisher of freedomsphoenix.com and the radio talk show host of Declare Your Independence. Now, I want to give you my personal endorsement of a wealthy U.S. citizen that is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He's produced a video for you. It's a real eye-opener, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to watch it. www.endofamerica, the numbers 1 and 7.com. endofamerica17.com. This video has the history of how we got where we are now and where we're going and why. Now, it's a lengthy video. It'll be about 20 minutes, but you need to watch this so you understand what's going to happen to this country and how you can protect your wealth and even benefit financially. Now, you go there. It's free. I want you to watch this video. You need to have this information so that you can survive the economic collapse that's coming to America. It's not if, it's when. That's endofamerica, the numbers 1 and 7.com. After you watch it, you'll understand why I endorse it.